I'm Blake Meckler, and I'll be watching John's speech.
I'm Richard Birchman. I'll be watching John's speech because he paid me $50 to do this because I really didn't want to.
Hello everyone, this is what I'm going to be talking to you about today. Bananas. Chiquita bananas, that is. To start off, just going to tell you a little bit about the company, Chiquita, and the operation they have set up. We're going to focus mostly on the production in northern Honduras, and this is in between the cities of Corte Castilla and La Ceiba in the northern coast. Area receives a lot of rainfall. Lowland area is great for banana production. So pretty much the flow of this speech is going to start with just background on the company. Then we're going to move into talking about the production and distribution. And we're going to talk about marketing and advertising, and finally consumption and post-consumption of banana waste. So to start, let's talk about the company. Chiquita Bananas was formerly known as the United Fruit Company. Right now they hold about 25% of the world banana trade, so a quarter. In 2010, their net revenue was $3.2 billion, and the CEO's average pay is between $5 and $7 million. And you can find all that documented on Chiquita's website. So moving on, let's talk about production. First off, the material resources that are needed. Some of the main ones are going to be land. You're going to need a ton of land to make these plantations in the thousands of hectares. Second, you're going to need a lot of water resources. And how Chiquita acquires these resources, since there's not a lot of freshwater reservoirs to draw off of in Honduras, is they go through these juntas de agua. And what juntas de agua are defined as pretty much the provincial government has established these little bureaucratic committees that decide who gets the water in Honduras, and pretty much whoever has the highest bid gets it. And what a lady named Yoshika Sano did her master's thesis on specifically the water trade in Honduras, and she discovered that Chiquita is able to acquire these through their high bids for this water, and then they get it. Next, you're going to need fertilizers, herbicides, pesticides, fungicides, that kind of thing, to keep the plants healthy and fit for consumption. You're going to need a lot of equipment, like planes to spray the fertilizers and herbicides, trucks transported, bulldozers to get the ground level and ready for cultivation. And lastly, you're going to need a lot of workers, and Honduras provides that via local Hondurans. Some positive aspects about this are obviously the people get jobs. Hondurans get jobs and they're able to provide for their family. Negative aspect is that it's cheap labor. They're usually paid $10 to $15 a day. So this is the wage that you and I couldn't conceive of living off of. Granted, it is a different country, a different economy, a different level of money worth and purchasing power, but at the same time, it is vastly exploitation. The workers being exploited. Some other negative aspects. We could talk about the control of the water supply. And because Chiquita is able to get these reservoir grants, Miss Sano talks about in her thesis that the locals aren't able to get this water, and because they're not able to get it, they're missing out on a major resource that they need to survive. And the water that they are able to get is contaminated from the agribusiness in the area, so the runoff from the herbicides, fertilizers, pesticides, and that's not healthy for the locals, and it causes a lot of health problems. Also, after 30 or 40 years, these banana plantations destroy the soil. It makes it not fit for any kind of agriculture or horticulture after that, and they move on to another area. When they move to another area, they got to acquire more land, and whatever is living there in the sought-out land is going to be removed. And this happens forcefully. And what Karen McCracken talks about in her article, the impacts of the banana production in Central America, she talks specifically about a city called Teramichi in Honduras around the 90s. About 600 inhabitants were forcefully removed from the city via the Honduran military supported by Chiquita Bananas, so they could acquire this plot of land. So that's another negative aspect to be aware of. They're able to move it on to shipment and distribution. Chiquita owns a huge fleet of ships called the Great Barrier ships, the Great Barrier Fleet. They transport about 70% to 80% of the banana product to North America, Europe, Japan, Australia, Russia, pretty much whoever wants bananas. So they're shipping it all over the place. And this is good. It gets bananas to markets that desire it, and that's the reason you and I are able to eat these bananas, because of that. Some positive aspects: provides a lot of jobs. People that are driving ships, load the trucks, load the ships, that kind of thing. But some negative aspects are it uses a lot of energy to ship these bananas to these foreign places. So that's a lot of energy being wasted. It's not a very efficient process either. And also there's a lot of water pollution and reef damage caused by these massive ships coming into these reefs and destroying them. Moving on, let's talk about marketing and advertising. A powerful symbol that Chiquita has is the Chiquita Lady that we all know, the lady that has the fruit basket on her head. That's Chiquita. You see the picture on the bananas when you buy the little blue one. Also, last year alone, Chiquita substantiated an extra $30 million to marketing and advertising, so that's a lot of extra money being pushed forward. And also, the company is portrayed on their website, Chiquita, as a socially conscious and environmentally responsible company. And a negative aspect of this is that, as we found from talking about the negative externalities of the production process, there are some. They're existing and they're real, and this is not discussed at all on their website. So it's rather misleading to the general public that reads it, as well as to the investors that are maybe looking for an ethical investing, and that's not a very good thing. They're very biased and they don't tell much about their human rights violations. Lastly, let's talk about the consumption and post-consumption process. Starting with consumption, bananas are sold worldwide. You can get them in just about any country now. It's relatively cheap per pound, 17 to 99 cents a pound. It's a healthy fruit, and yeah, it's available everywhere. One of the main negative aspects that I want to hit on is one caused by globalization, and this is specifically known in Chiquita coming into these countries, setting up huge operations, and their ability to produce a extremely cheap product via not only the exploitation of the workers, but just their high revenue. They got a lot of good technology. They have genetically modified seeds, that kind of thing, that allows them to produce this. But the local farmers aren't able to keep up with that. They have to produce a product that's a little bit higher in price, and because of that, they don't sell it. I mean, we're living in a capitalistic society, capitalistic markets. People don't buy those products, and they lose business and eventually go out of business. And in a movie called Life and Death, done by Stephanie Black, she talks about this specific occurrence happening in Jamaica when Chiquita came in, set up these big operations, and put out a lot of workers, put them out of business, and forced them to move into other fields where they weren't as efficient as the banana trade. And lastly, let's talk about post-consumption. Bananas are actually used for a lot of interesting ways. The banana waste product, the stem, peel, anything left over from the banana plant can be used not only as a paper via making kind of a papyrus-like substance, kind of grainy thing that's dried out, stretched, and it's used as paper. So this is something that's picking up. And more importantly, one that I found was it's used as an energy via a biodegrading the product, and it produces ethanol. And an individual named Kumar Harish, biotechnologist from India, published an article in the African Journal of Biotechnology that talked about this process specifically, and found that it is actually a very efficient process, and able to find energy, kind of withdraw energy from this waste product. And it's already being picked up and used widely in Australia, and hopefully it'll move on and start to pick up in other countries and catch on. So in conclusion, I hope you learned a lot about bananas today. I know I threw a lot of facts at you, but there's a lot to learn. There's a lot more than just buying this little guy at Myers or Walmart or your local grocery store. There's a lot that goes into it. So now hopefully you're a little more conscious. You got a little better opinion when you go to the store and pick it out. And who knows, maybe it'll sway your opinion and you'll choose differently, and maybe you won't buy a Chiquita banana next time. Thank you.